Dobry den. I'm going to be showing a video for the main part of this presentation. My version has sound on it, but if there is a problem and you cannot hear the sound, then perhaps, Tatiana, you can send me a message through the chat and I will just use the slides and talk to them. Okay? So I had hoped that I would be here in Moscow, or there in Moscow, I should say, instead of sitting in the United Kingdom on what is actually a very pleasant day. We have blue skies and the temperature is 18 degrees, but we're not allowed to travel anywhere. So I made this presentation into a video, which I'm just going to show you. It doesn't last for very long, about 11 minutes, and that should give us some time for questions afterwards, if that's what you want to do. So I'm now going to share my screen, and there we are.
Very good.
The quality of an academic journal depends largely on the quality of the editorial office and the professionals who manage the journal. Although it's the authors who write the contributions and the editor who makes the publishing decisions, it's the editorial team that determines and puts into place the processes that bring out and improve the quality of the contributions. A key aim of the International Society of Managing and Technical Editors is to help editorial offices around the world achieve and maintain the highest possible professional editorial standards. It does this by providing resources and also by providing a competence framework for those in editorial positions in scholarly journals. You may be in an editorial office or be an academic employed by a university who is also the editor of the journal. For those of you who are authors rather than editorial professionals, you may find that this presentation gives you some insights into the essential work carried out by those to whom you submit your manuscripts. ISMTE has defined 3 levels through which editorial office professionals can progress. For each stage, the Standards Committee has described their typical activities that they will undertake in peer review, ethical issues, editorial activities, and production. There are specific resources available to support development at each level. The framework enables professionals to assess the level at which they're currently working, whether there are areas in which they need to improve their competence, and what they need to achieve to move to the next level of professional development. We start at level 1, where we'd expect editorial staff to be involved in peer review, independently handling the day-to-day review process, checking new and revised submissions, sending out reminders, using at least one of the electronic peer review systems, monitoring performance, for example, the peer review process, and using standard reports and providing system and process support for authors, reviewers, and editors. We would expect that staff will be aware of common ethical issues, for example, plagiarism, simultaneous submission, and problematic authorship, although they may need guidance from colleagues in handling specific cases. When in doubt, ask. Perform quality checks on accepted manuscripts before they go to the publisher, for example, to ensure files are complete and to confirm that artwork requirements have been met. Send accepted manuscripts to the publisher, help to determine the table of contents for each issue, distribute and review page proofs, and collect collections. They may be responsible for ensuring all papers have the necessary copyright and permissions. Society members have access to a wide range of resources to help them with their professional development. These are some of the resources relevant to the Level 1 standards. Some of them are printed guides.
Миш, она еще даже не начала, Оля. У них все
As its name implies, is a game to be played by 4 or more members of the editorial team. The second level of the standards framework builds on level 1. It requires a higher level of competence in peer review, ethics, editorial activities and production, and introduces journal development. For peer review, we would expect that the editorial office professional will have knowledge of more than one peer review workflow and be an expert user of one of them. Be able to troubleshoot and respond to process and system problems and ethical issues. Manage a small team and report on journal accountability to all stakeholders. They will take the lead in investigating and resolving ethical issues according to best practice guidelines, such as those developed by the Committee on Publication Ethics, COPE. They may be responsible for assessing plagiarism checking software, of course, such as Authenticate or Anti-Plagiat, and flagging any potential issues. And they may also be answering copyright or permission queries, or assessing when extra permissions are necessary, such as for artwork modified or adapted from other sources. They may copy edit manuscripts before or after they're accepted. They may be responsible for the day-to-day management of social media accounts. And at level 2, they will take a more central role in publication, tracking, and reporting on publisher performance, taking responsibility for page budgets and ensuring the quality of published content. The additional area of responsibility is journal development. The level 2 professional will be comfortable interacting with editorial boards and may attend board meetings and help to shape journal development. They will assist with researching and implementing new initiatives. They will be aware of trends in the wider publishing community and understand how these may affect their publications, and will be involved in formal or informal commissioning of content. This may involve encouraging submissions from authors in a particular subject area, or identifying authors to be formally invited to submit. As with level 1, level 2 is supported with a number of resources, which are listed here. And then we get to level 3. Again, this extends the competences covered in levels 1 and 2, so that by the time editorial office professionals have reached this level, they have an expert knowledge of peer review, including research and development in the field. They take responsibility for creating and improving processes using data-driven solutions. They will be training and managing junior colleagues. They may be responsible for the financial budget of the journal and the editorial office. They may also be instrumental in developing the editorial board by identifying and training new members. They will attend meetings and conferences to represent the journals to members and recruit authors and/or content. I have to say that I don't think this is just for level 3. All professionals should be doing this. They have a wider understanding and responsibility for ethical issues, so they may sit on ethics boards and report ethics findings for individual cases. They develop policy for the journal and work proactively to prevent ethical issues from occurring. They may be responsible for detailed analysis of any plagiarism issues highlighted by plagiarism checking software. Their involvement in editorial matters is widened to ensure the quality of copy editing and manage copy editing resources. In production, they may be involved in contract negotiations and journal design or redesign, may have responsibility for developing or maintaining websites and posting accepted content, as well as creating a social media policy. They may lead or serve on committees for new editor-in-chief and or associate editor searches and new publisher requests for proposals, and help to define policy for copyright and permission requirements, and also make final decisions on any related queries. The largest step for the editorial professional is a greater responsibility for development and strategic planning, where they contribute to developing journal strategies and priorities for growth, including marketing. They're familiar with competitor titles in their subject areas, and they may have a significant role in commissioning content or work to establish new journals, using journal data such as citations and downloads. They implement new initiatives, such as reviewer training programs, based on their knowledge of best practices in the industry. As expert editorial office professionals, they are active members of the wider publishing community and are prepared to assess and act on developments or technology that could improve their journals. And here too, there are resources to support professional development. Finally, a reasonable question to ask is, with such a competent editorial office staff, what role is there for the editor-in-chief? The answer is that, freed of the mechanics of running the journal, which these competent staff can do far better, the editor is released to concentrate on making informed decisions about which submissions to publish and to plan for the future of the journal. A competent editorial office makes for a very happy editor. Thank you for listening. If you have questions, you can always reach me through the Education and Self-Development Journal. Email Nik Rashbi @btinternet.com.
So, if it would help, and I don't know whether anybody was doing interpretation for that video, I can put onto the chat the file that people can then download and can look at their leisure and either translate using Google or whatever. Olga, would you like me to do that?
Dear Nik, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your presentation. It is very general and full for our understanding of what role of the editors should be in our journals also. All points of your presentation, it's signs that it is the не надо переводить. Зачем? It is very useful for our editors because it is the points of their work, whole work in their editorials. And I think that is very helpful. Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure. Спасибо.